Hey, what's up guys? This is going to be, once patch 7 has started, I've been playing a couple games. Finally it's Friday, so I sat down and played a bunch of games. And this is one that I figured I would point out right from the start. This is just to point out some of the things you gotta watch out for when you're playing patch 7. And that is going to be the power of the Seleucids, in particular the power of these armored elephants and the powers of the chariots. They've kind of changed the mechanisms for it. The weight of infantry and the way they get knocked down has changed a bit, so you'll see that heavy infantry take a while longer to get up. So this means that when elephants or when chariots hit them, it takes them a while to get up and actually return fire. So you'll find elephants and chariots are actually pretty effective. I find a lot more than they were before, and you'll find that this is a pretty typical Seleucid build. Now usually I don't like using these standard kind of point and click builds that end up winning you the battles, but I just wanted to point out just how effective this kind of army is. Anyways, you'll see basically the main thing that people end up bringing is 2 of the elephants or 1 elephant and then usually 1 or 2 chariots. Those are going to be the main brunt of your attack. And then they're going to follow that up with camel archers, and the camel archers are there to provide morale debuffs and also have, some archer support. So that not only do camels have just a passive ability to debuff horses, but they can also use whistling arrows or fire arrows to further debuff armies. Follow that up with 2 Azat knights who are going to be very strong, and then maybe even a Cappadocian or the heavy cataphract general, and that makes a very, very potent striking force. And it leaves you with a bunch of spare money that you can spend on what people usually spend it on is royal peltas. Some of the most cost-effective infantry, I would say, nowadays that you can buy. Very, very good. And you can see here, I'm not really going to micro too much this battle. It's just going to be a pretty straight-up brawl and attack. This is some build that I would recommend, if you have trouble winning battles. Maybe go ahead and try this, but I think it's kind of a cheap build because it's, you'll see in this battle, I don't end up microing too much, and I think just the whole build is way too cost effective, and some of the mechanisms make it so that you can just really abuse some of these units. I'm sure as the patch goes on, people will develop counters to this, but at first you'll see it's going to prove to be very, very brutal. Anyways, you can see here I'm charging towards his infantry. Now usually when you're taking a charge like this, you want to tell your units to stop moving to increase their bracing. Because he's running at me, he's going to take a lot more damage. So I'm charging 2 chariots and 1 elephant into this big heavy infantry blob here. He does have some spears in there, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to keep charging right through. One of the things you have to be mindful of though is when you're using chariots, they basically have to be microed 24/7. You have to keep telling them to attack a target further afield so that they keep charging. The second they stand still, like right now, is when they'll start dying very, very quickly. So you got to keep telling them to run around because they have scythes on the side. That means that it's going to be from the side that they do the most damage. So right here you can see they stop moving, and that's when they started to lose the most men. So anyways, what you want to do is just keep telling your chariots to keep moving. Anyways, I basically just threw in my chariots, told my elephants to charge in, and you'll see that when you attack with those 2 units, you can basically wreck an equivalent amount of money spent on heavy infantry. You can just melt these guys away, and also even charge through spears. I've heard some people do that. Very, very effective. So that'll basically create chaos and panic in your enemy army. You don't even really have to do anything but charge straight up into heavy infantry and you're good. Then you basically just charge in with the rest of your forces here. So I'm hoping they fix this. I think it's a little bit cheap, and usually you notice that my battles drag on for a little while as I position and all that stuff, but I decided to use this build, and it really shows that because of how quick this battle is going to be, just how effective this build is. If you want to make it even more effective, go ahead and take your royal peltas off of unit attack or formation attack. That way they'll attack most effectively. They'll spread out, each unit engaging as much as possible. So combine that with everything, and you have one hell of a build. So you'll be seeing this build a lot. I'll try and work through multiplayer, try and get used to the tactics needed to defeat it, or what the best way to defeat it is. Anyways, I just wanted to make you aware that this is a build that's going around that you'll see used a lot online. Also, some of the tweaks to the barbarians meant that they aren't going to be as great for rushing as they used to be. I haven't used them too much. When I did, they weren't as effective as they were before. I think some stat changes did that. And also, what I've heard on the forums is people are saying the barbarians are more adept at kiting now, which is a lot of skirmishing, falling back, as opposed to the rush builds that they had before. So the game is changing again, and I just wanted to keep you guys aware of it. I'll have more battles coming up soon. And take a look at these camels in the snow. It's a very weird sight, but very glorious at the same time. Anyways, that's going to be it pretty much for the battle. You can see I ended up with most of my troops remaining here. Of course, my chariots and elephants were wiped out, but they basically went nuclear when they went ahead and died. Anyways, they took out a lot of men. So, you know, these camel archers, once they're in the battle, just keep using whistling arrow and just deplete the enemy's morale. Let's go ahead and end the battle and see just how many kills. So you can see here, chariots between both of them got a ton of kills. Same with the elephants, tons and tons of kills. And they just steamrolled what would have been a very strong build of the Arverni on the right. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. See you next time.